people to come together, wherever far and wide, to help make this happen. We need to protect the Saskatchewan River Delta.
Tonight, a group of residents are ringing the alarm on dangerously low water levels in Saskatchewan.
It's important for other cultures to learn who we are, and you can do that so easily on social media.
A global Indigenous languages summit is taking place in Ottawa, and the theme was Indigenous language revitalization and how social media can help.
The main purpose of the Explore Indigenous Centre is to drive more business and more traffic to our authentically owned Indigenous tourism experiences.
And if you're still looking for things to do this summer, Explore Indigenous in Winnipeg has some ideas for you. Good evening, I'm Dennis Ward. Welcome to APTN National News. There's been increased interest in the Arctic in recent years from countries like Russia and China, not to mention recent talk from the United States that Canada must enhance its national northern defense capabilities to help protect North America's security. Now a new report is highlighting how First Nations in the Yukon contribute to Arctic security and the challenges they face in their efforts to protect their communities. Sarah Connors starts us off tonight with a breakdown of that report.
The AFN Yukon region in the North American and Arctic Defense and Security Network is calling for greater collaboration between First Nations and decision makers on Arctic security. The report, which includes input from First Nations leaders, technical experts, and others, was sparked following an incident in early 2023 when an unidentified flying object, initially thought to be a foreign surveillance balloon, was shot down over First Nations territory. The incident caused confusion as government agencies failed to provide impacted First Nations with timely, accurate information as events unfolded. Beyond that, the report found the Yukon has a lot of strategic importance in matters of Arctic security, from its road and air networks to its proximity to Alaska and the Arctic Ocean. But it says military investment in the territory is sparse, and First Nations have been largely excluded or under-involved in decisions surrounding defense and security policy in the north. It also found the Yukon's Canadian Rangers need more support and resources. First Nations often lead search and rescue operations, but are rarely treated as formal partners by other agencies, and that better infrastructure in First Nations communities could strengthen northern defense planning. The report calls for formal information sharing and co-planning protocols between First Nations and the National Department of Defense, and more federal funding for a defense role within First Nations governments. Sarah Connors, APTN National News, Whitehorse.
Thanks, Sarah. This year, Saskatchewan has faced multiple natural disasters. And while fires continue to burn across the province, a group of northern residents says the government must also address another concern, the water. APTN video journalist Rachel May spoke with an elder, raising awareness about the issue.
We need people to come together, wherever far and wide, to help make this happen. We need to protect the Saskatchewan River Delta.
Denise Mackenzie, a Métis elder from Cumberland House, is one of the people spearheading the Indigenous Saskatchewan Women's Environmental Water Keepers Advocates Group. Cumberland House, once a key fur trade depot connecting the Saskatchewan River Delta to Lake Winnipeg and Hudson Bay, now faces dangerously low water levels, making the river hard to navigate. Mackenzie says residents have been calling for action to preserve and restore the Delta's health for nearly 20 years.
They're at a point where they don't know what to do. You know, they're just lost. They know they've got no help, and that's how it's been for so many years.
She says residents have taken it upon themselves to preserve the Delta as best they can, but lack of funding remains a challenge.
The trapper said, no, we need to do something here. This is not right, you know. Hold them accountable. So we've been trying to work, and we're doing these restorations. They've been putting a little bit of funds, and we've been getting little funds here and there, but it's not enough. There needs to be a whole permanent funding to help restore, because we can improve that health.
The Water Movement Group continues to urge the provincial and federal governments to provide sustained funding to restore the river delta and stop the irrigation projects before it's lost forever. Mackenzie says that if plans to divert natural water to man-made basins go ahead, the delta and vital Indigenous practices will disappear.
It's the teachings that come through, the values that are taught to the young people to carry on. That's what it's about. It's being out there and doing these things that we do on the trap lines. You know, it's not going to be there anymore if we don't do something.
The group hopes to raise awareness about the low water levels before there are irreversible effects on both the delta and the entire Saskatchewan River system. Rachel May, APTN National News, Saskatoon.
A First Nation in northern Saskatchewan says it's making its community safer by removing people from homes where there is illegal activity and unsafe conditions. In a recent statement posted to social media, the Buffalo River Dene Nation says it evicted a number of community members and said it was the hardest day they've faced. The Dene Nation says they are feeling the growing impact of drug use and drug dealers while dealing with more dangerous substances like methamphetamine and fentanyl. Leadership also notes that people living in newer homes have signed tenancy agreements to not allow drug use or illegal activity in their homes. There are currently more than 150 people waiting for housing, and the Dene Nation says that some are abusing the privilege of having a home. In a statement, leadership adds, quote, "What happened was not done out of anger or judgment, but out of care. Care for the people affected, care for their children, and care for the families living around them who have been living in fear." Buffalo River Dene Nation is located about 550 kilometers north of Saskatoon. And you can read more about that story by visiting our website, aptnnews.ca. 4 First Nations within Niwin-Widanimuk, or Four Winds Partnership, signed a memorandum of understanding with the province of Manitoba today for the twinning of the Trans-Canada Highway. The MOU will see the integration of Anishinaabe laws into the project. Sierra Bettens joins us from outside the Roundhouse in Wajik, Onegum, with more.
This is the Wajik Onevans First Nations Roundhouse on Pow-wow Island, just outside Kenora, Ontario. Earlier today, Manitoba Premier Wab Kinew and Ministers Lisa Naylor and Ian Bushy joined First Nations from the Four Winds Partnership to sign a Memorandum of Understanding. The MOU will set a framework for incorporating Anishinaabe laws into the planning and design of twinning the Trans-Canada Highway near the Ontario and Manitoba border. Earlier, we spoke with Premier Kinew, chiefs, and community members about the significance of the signing and how it could set a precedent for future projects. We'll have that full report on tomorrow's newscast. Back to you.
Thanks, Sierra. A global Indigenous languages gathering is now underway in Ottawa. Details on that and more after the break. Welcome back. The first full day of the Global Indigenous Languages Summit in Ottawa wrapped up Tuesday afternoon. Today's theme was Land and Language, which featured a social media and youth component. There were also a number of breakout sessions on Indigenous language revitalization, and one in particular on Michif languages. APTN's Fraser Needham has more.
Welcome to Q's Greenland!
Kupanuk Olsen is the host of her own YouTube channel called Q's Greenland. She was also one of the featured speakers as part of the 7Gen space during the first full day of the Wave's 2025 Indigenous Languages Conference. Olsen says social media has allowed her to tell her own story, and that of Greenland to close to 500,000 YouTube subscribers.
It's so important to tell your own story to the rest of the world, so that's what I'm doing. It's important for other cultures to learn who we are, and you can do that so easily on social media. So yeah, it's just important to share who you are to the rest of the world through social media.
As part of her talk, Olsen told youth all you need is a smartphone, basic microphone, and a little imagination to tell your story, no matter how remote your location. She adds the sky is the limit when it comes to using social media to link Indigenous people all around the world and helping them revitalize and preserve their languages.
Social media is helping us to connect. It's helping us to relate to other fellow Inuit or other Indigenous people, and it's also helping us to maintain our language, like teach others and empower the young people to start to learn their own language. So it's just all about connecting and inspire others to do content creation. Yeah.
And so welcome everybody. Thank you.
In another afternoon session, Brielle Bowden-Reimer was part of a presentation on the recently produced report, The Vitality of Michif Languages Among the Red River Métis, which was prepared for the Office of the Commissioner of Indigenous Languages. The report is a historical analysis of the rise of Michif languages during the early to mid-1800s and the decline after Manitoba joined Confederation in 1870. She says revitalization of Michif languages will require further research in both historical and contemporary data.
I think for me, the most important part is more about how do we bring awareness about Michif languages, because in order to revitalize them, we also need to bring awareness to them. And we need to understand how and where they existed. And so that's kind of from a historical perspective where I see my role.
The Languages Conference continues on Wednesday with the theme of Technology and Language. Fraser Needham, APTN National News, Ottawa.
Plains Cree writer and producer Haley Morin is about to debut her first full-length film premiere nationwide. Called Under the Arbor, it is a journey through the heart of the Pow-wow Trail. The documentary was filmed over the course of one summer in Treaty 6 territory. For more, Haley joins us now. Haley, thanks so much for being with us, and congrats on the new documentary. Can you tell us about the making of Under the Arbor?
Yeah, so thank you very much. I really appreciate it. So Under the Arbor was filmed in the summer of 2024. We filmed over the course of about 6 weeks. We ventured to 3 different powwows here in the Alberta Treaty 6 area. And yeah, it was just a really beautiful summer of powwow that we got to capture.
Why did you want to make a film about the Pow-wow Trail?
I mean, for me, I'm so blessed to be from Enoch Cree Nation and to be from Treaty 6, where, you know, it feels like powwow is really alive in this area. Where I grew up, anywhere in like a half an hour vicinity, you can go to a powwow pretty much every single weekend. So being a part of that and growing up in that sort of lifestyle myself, it was just really great to have the opportunity to be able to partner with the CBC and to be able to sort of tell this time-honored tradition that, you know, my people and so many others have been, you know, enduring and going through for generations. And it feels like a lot of people still in this day and age haven't been to a powwow yet.
All right. Well, music is very important to any powwow. Can you tell us about the music in the documentary?
Yeah, so we were super blessed to be able to partner with the very iconic and prolific Fawn Wood, along with her partner Dallas Waskahut, who is the lead singer of the very celebrated and championship drum group Cree Confederation. So we partnered with them on the film. We were able to, capture many of their live performances as well as use them as our musical composers on the film. So they were instrumental in being able to tell this story through both the visual language as well as the audio language.
What are you hoping people take away from the film?
For me, I really just hope that people are able to see a part of a really beautiful lifestyle that they might not have had access to, as well as if they are part of that lifestyle, I would love for them to be able to see it captured really beautifully on film. So for me, I would love for the main takeaway just for people to be able to really enjoy, celebrate, and appreciate the beauty that is powwow. And, if you've never been to one yourself before, I hope that it sparks a want to be able to come and join.
What did you take away from shooting that summer and putting this all together?
For me, I was someone who I wasn't necessarily super involved in the powwow trail growing up. I danced a little bit growing up, and I had a lot of family members who danced, and I had a lot of really prolific drummers in my life from a young age. So just being able to revisit that community, being able to reconnect with a lot of people who I knew when I was younger or who I watched when I was younger, whether it was drumming or singing, just being able to go back into that community, really sort of connect with my own roots in a sense, to be able to go back to something that is so integral to our people, especially here as a Nehiyaw person up in Treaty 6.
Nice. It's going to premiere later this week. Can you tell us how people can watch?
Yes, for sure. So it'll be available for streaming on CBC Gem starting this Friday, August 15th. It'll also be available for broadcast on your local CBC channels, I believe the 7 to 8 p.m. Just check your local listings on Saturday, August 16th as well. But starting this Friday, you can, like I said, view it on Gem and stream it as many times as you like.
Another component I guess we should touch on quick is that you can view this in Cree. How important was that?
It was huge. I mean, I think being able to tell a story that is so important to the Cree people, that is powwow, I think goes hand in hand with being able to tell it within the language. So we were so fortunate to be able to do a fully Cree dubbed version that's actually dubbed by Fawn Wood and Dallas Waskahut. It was one of the most prolific experiences I've ever had in my life, both creatively and culturally, to be able to see this sort of beautiful time-honored tradition as powwow being spoken in the Nehiyaw language.
Good stuff, Haley. Congrats again. Appreciate you taking some time for us to talk about it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
A new Indigenous-owned company in Winnipeg is providing people with a stroll through 6,000 years of history. That story and more still to come. Welcome back. Time now for our photo of the day. And enjoying the flowers and sunny weather, today's photo of the day comes from Jason Corshane, who shared a picture of his dog Louie with a big smile. Thanks, Jason. If you want to be featured on APTN National News, you can email your pictures to share@aptn.ca. Now let's take a look at tomorrow's weather forecast. Starting on the East Coast, sunny and 33 in Fredericton, 24 under the sun in Halifax. 25 with showers in Kuujjuaq. Sun will be out with a high of 11 in Nain. 33 with rain in Montreal, cloudy and 24 in Val-d'Or. 18 and sunny in Sault Ste. Marie, 32 with showers in Ottawa. Cloudy and 18 in Thunder Bay, 16 and sunny skies in Sioux Lookout. 17 for God's Lake, 15 in Norway House. 25 under the sun in Winnipeg, sunny and 26 in Dauphin. 34 with the sun out in Regina, 33 and sunny in Saskatoon. 23 with showers in Meadow Lake, 16 in Buffalo Narrows. In northern Alberta, cloudy and 17 in High Level, showers and 9 in Fort Chipewyan. 22 with showers in Edmonton, sunny and 34 in Lethbridge. 18 in Vancouver, sunny and 22 in Kamloops. 19 under sunny skies for Prince George and Fort Nelson. 22 with the sun out in Old Crow, 21 and sunny in Whitehorse. 18 under sunny skies in Yellowknife, 22 with the sun out in Norman Wells. 10 in Sax Harbor, 15 and sunny in Polituck. 12 in Chesterfield, 10 in Whale Cove and Baker Lake. 5 in Resolute, 6 in Pangerton. Though August is almost halfway over already, it's not too late to get out and enjoy the summer. There to help you find your next adventure is Explore Indigenous, a new location at the Forks in Winnipeg, showcasing all the Indigenous tourism experiences across Manitoba. While you're there, you can take a guided tour of the unique history surrounding the area from an Indigenous viewpoint with Turtle Tours. Here's our reporter, Sav Jonesa, with more.
Exploring Manitoba might be one way to enjoy the rest of your summer, especially when it's coupled with an Indigenous point of view.
In a world where you can Google anything, I feel like we might have lost the art of oral storytelling and experiential learning. So that's something we're trying to bring back here. You know, you can feel, smell, touch, and see all of the stories we're telling you while you're on the tour.
Turtle Tours is a new Indigenous-owned guided walking tour at the Forks in Winnipeg. They'll teach you all you need to know about the historic location where the Red and Assiniboine rivers meet.
We just heard that this was a need. This was something that people were looking for. With people staying in their own backyard this year, we want something more local. And what better than history? I think that's a new thing in tourism. Not really new, but something that's becoming more important is hearing history and experiencing something that you walk away with more knowledge rather than just an experience.
Turtle Tours owner Ashley Smith says they'll walk you through 6,000 years of history. She says learning more about the land and Indigenous cultures around you can change the way you view Winnipeg today.
Some of my favorite facts are just the long history of the different tribes that were here and what led them here. There's different prophecies that brought them here, and so we share a lot about that. We share a lot about the way the history was and how this has always been a meeting place and a place of peace, and that it continues to be that way.
Tour guide Ella Flatt McMahon is a history major who says knowing the past is an act of resistance and reclamation.
Behind me, I have The Eighth and Final Fire by Jamie Isaac, and it's inspired by an Anishinaabe prophecy in which settlers were to come to our land, and there was going to be a complex relationship between settlers, Indigenous people, and the land. And elders teach that humanity will reach a crossroads where we have to choose to start respecting the land and all of its inhabitants to keep all of our safety and to stay alive.
More than 4 million people visit the Forks every year. It's why Indigenous Tourism Manitoba CEO Holly Spence is excited to open up Explore Indigenous at the site to showcase businesses like Turtle Tours.
The main purpose of the Explore Indigenous Centre is to drive more business and more traffic to our authentically owned Indigenous tourism experiences.
Promoted businesses and artisans are certified through the Indigenous Tourism Association of Canada's Original accreditation program. It requires businesses to be at least 51% Indigenous owned, and their offerings must meet high standards.
So that consumers know that they're getting an exceptional experience and an exceptional product.
At Explore Indigenous, you can find out about all the Indigenous tourism in Manitoba in one spot. Many experiences are available year-round and leave their adventurers with lifelong memories.
They leave saying, you know, we lived here for 20 years and we had no idea this history.
Sav Jones, APTN National News, Winnipeg.
Good stuff. Thanks for that, Sav. That's all the time we have for your APTN National News for this Tuesday. For more, though, you can visit our website, aptnnews.ca. And of course, Creason will be here at 1 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow with your first look at the day's news. I'm Dennis Ward, Marcy Miigwech. Thanks for being with us. Stay tuned. An encore presentation of Face to Face is up next with guest Grand Chief Kyra Wilson of the Assembly of Manitoba Chiefs. Have a great day.